What is going on, guys? I haven't done a live comm in a long time. It's been very busy, and it's not every day that I do a roller coaster review either, but Fury is definitely a ride that I feel I need to review because I didn't understand all the hype surrounding it until I got on it. So that's what I'm about to do here, guys. I'm about to completely go through my experience and give you the ride details and, the layout, and describe how I want to say how it feels, but sort of, describe, what it's like on it, because I didn't believe the hype. I had the unpopular opinion that I would like Intimidator more because it had more airtime, but boy was I wrong. Not only was Fury's lack of airtime, or not lack of airtime, but, airtime moments, not only were they better than the actual airtime moments, but one airtime hill on Fury has more airtime than every hill on Intimidator. So I'm going to completely break down everything about Fury. Alright, now to sort of either build or take away some ethos, I did do this 6 times. It was my first trip to Carowinds, and I think it might have been hauling. A lot of the rides were hauling that day because they were only running 1 or 2 trains. Unfortunately, this was only running 2 trains, so I do believe it was hauling. I got 2 rides in the front row, 1 on the far left, 1 on the far right, and 2 in the back row, 1 on the far left and 1 on the far back, again on the right. And then I got a row 4 and a row 5 seat. Now this is unfortunate. There's signs that say no preferred seating, and when I asked to go to the back row the first time, she didn't even say no. She just said row 4. So that's just very unfortunate. I think it depends on the person. I talked to one of the workers. They said if there's a supervisor there, then they will allow you to sit wherever, but if there's not, then they'll probably be pretty strict about it. So yeah, so it depends when you go if you will get to sit where you want. So good luck with that. Luckily I got to sit in the front and the back. Alright, let's go ahead into the ride layout itself. Now you go forward, and the operations were pretty good with this ride, surprisingly. The lift is actually surprisingly fast. You can hear my reaction and how fast the lift was. Oh, brother. Wow.
For your safety, please keep your hands, arms, feet,
that is a
and
fast.
legs.
Alright, so now you're going up the lift, and the view from this lift is absolutely phenomenal. At first you don't expect it to be as tall as it is, and then you realize that you can see Charlotte off to the distance, and you can see the whole park and everything around it, and it's just an absolutely beautiful view. You can see me, sort of looking around it. But once we get close to the top, it's really a pretty quick trip. I would have to relate it to Steel Vengeance's lift and how fast it is. But once you get to the top, it does slow down to add, a little bit more anticipation, and then I see why everybody was raving about this drop. It feels like you are dropping forever. Alright, now I love watching videos of rides that I've ridden, and before and after. So I've watched plenty of videos of Fury before and after. And after, I was trying to describe of a way to think of these fast-paced turns. And the way that the video describes is that you get airtime on the turns, and I'm thinking, did I capture that? So watch what happens on these turns. Watch the camera breaks away from the track, and that's what happens when you get airtime. You get separated from the track. So on these turns, I'm going to replay this for you guys. You can see the track sort of, get further away from the camera, showing that, there was some separation on those turns. Alright, now if you're wondering why the ride sounds, why the POV sounds like this, it's because this is a very windy ride. That's why some people believe it's a front row ride. I'm not sure whether I preferred the front row or the back row on this. Both are actually really good rides. That's how you know a ride is good, if you can ride in multiple seats and still love it. It was good in row 4 and 5 as well. But that's why the POV does sound like this. Now, there's also 2 more analogies that I want to make with this ride. And the first one has to do with the turns and the transitions to this ride. This reminded me of Maverick and how fun they are. So hopefully that sort of adds to people's opinion of, not disliking Fury because it's not just straight Airtime Hills, and, sort of getting a feel of why everybody loves the fast, high-speed turns on Fury. The second one I want to give is that the treble clef element feels like a wave turn to me, and it took me forever to figure out how B&M did this until I looked at it from the side to see that the top of it is almost sort of built like a wave turn, and the amount of airtime you get on the top of this is very, very similar to a wave turn. Now, the one complaint I have about this ride, and it's not even really a complaint, it just feels like the helix is a little bit drawn out too much. But you can see why they did that, to give the little pole near mix with the white support right there. But that is the only part where I feel like this ride slows down when it could have been sped up. B&M is known for their boring helixes, but this one you are still going through it pretty fast, but I just felt like it was a little bit too stretched out. It's not a big complaint or anything. I still think this is a phenomenal ride, but this is just the one point in the ride when you think people can actually breathe, and it sort of stops the pacing for a little bit. Alright, now the last part, the Airtime Hills. I said that one Airtime Hill on this ride is stronger than all of Intimidator's hills, and I mean that. Now, how to describe that is, I would say the amount of airtime is in between, and don't go crazy when I say this, one of the Maverick ejector hills and one of any other B&M hyper hills. So I'd say it's directly in between that. Even though the first hill is trimmed, you're not expecting to go over it that fast. So the airtime is very quality in this, and you do feel that coming out of your seat. And, I might describe it as flow ejector. I know somebody might describe it as something else, but the airtime on this ride is powerful, and there are 3 hills on this, and it is very amazing. Now, the last thing, about the ride, the brake run, it's not as memeable as Valraven's brake run, but it does stop you at the top, and then it is just a long, just sort of straight hill down, and that's just how you end this ride. Alright, so that is going to do it for my full review of Fury. I'm not really, I don't really give numbers towards rides. I won't even tell you where this ranks in my top 10 yet until I make that video. But this definitely is a phenomenal ride. I'm thinking about doing a video over my, rating the entire Carowinds trip that I took, but I'm not really sure about that. But yes, that is going to do it for this Fury 325 review. A great steel ride. I could definitely see how it was a lot of people's number one. I'm going to go out on the limb and say that is not my number one, especially because I went to Cedar Point, did steel vintage in the front at night before this. But this is definitely a phenomenal ride. It was not overhyped to me like a lot of people said it would. I figured it would be, but it absolutely was not. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
And if you want it, a smooth ride, here's a little surprise, baby, because I am not calibrated, they're a little overrated, everybody's looking at you. Wanna find the peace of mind that everyone is looking for, you might as well just find a different groove. And if you want it, a surprise, here's a little advice, baby. Don't go looking for it, everyone will know you're boring. Up for sure, it's snoring when they look